This is Brother Jamal bringing you another podcast right here. Um, this short podcast, I probably would be doing a series of podcasts, but I just wanted to start off with this one. I know at this particular time, people are really concerned about the virus and everything, and people are really getting all been out of shape, and you see the stock market has went down. You see people closing down the tournaments, closing down ball games. A lot of public activity you see people closing down due to the virus. We believe that Almighty Allah is the one who decides what has happened, what is going to happen, and what is happening right now. We know that no one else decides that. But I just want to give you a little kind of a small scenario about China. In case you don't know this about China, I want to give you a little scenario. This is prior to this this virus that is sweeping the country and sweeping the world. Prior to this, there's if you will, a small amount of Muslims in China, and the numbers have, inshallah, have been really growing and increasing. And so, what has happened? It wasn't really in the news that much, and it really wasn't publicizing it that much. But the Chinese authorities, they have been abusing the Muslim community there for quite some time. And when I say abusing them, I mean really seriously abusing them. One of the things that happened during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when they were fighting the battles and fighting the wars, even when they captured the people that they fought against, one of the things that the Prophet ﷺ, he would tell the companions, the Sahaba, and the rest of the Muslims, not to be cruel and mean to the captives. And these are people that they fought against. They were to feed them. They wanted to be abusive to them. They wanted to do anything harmful to them. And this was when they fought against the Muslims, doing the fighting in Mecca, Medina, and the other places that they fought. When they would capture the people that fought against them, the Prophet ﷺ always instructed the companions, Sahaba, not to be mean and cruel and abusive to the captives. My point, the reason I'm saying that, because what has happened in China, what has happened in China before this virus hit, they were abusing the Muslims real bad. They were putting them. They had put a large portion of Muslims in concentration camps. They were not allowing the Muslims to pray. They were feeding them pork. They were raping and sexually abusing the women and the girls of the Muslims there in China for quite some time. Like I said, this didn't make the national news, but we saw people posting things and people putting the word out on social media that this was actually going on, and we've been knowing that for quite some time. So we believe, and this is not directed at anybody, this is not pointing the finger, but Allah is the one who controls the past, who controls now, he controls the destiny. We believe that this is a direct, and let me say this part too. The other part they were doing too, when the sisters would cover themselves with the niqab or either hijab, they were taking it off. They were jerking it off. They were taking them off. They would make the sisters uncover themselves. So we believe that Allah, who sits high and looks down low, we believe that the very thing that they were doing to the Muslims there, Allah sent this punishment to them. Because now in China, you see everybody, the very thing that they were saying to the Muslim women, that they couldn't cover themselves, they couldn't cover faces, you see everybody in China now is covered, and they have the masks and everything that they're wearing. So the very thing that they did to the Muslims, you see that very thing come back to them, you know. So I just wanted to point that out, because, like I said, this was not in the social media. It was not covered. They didn't even talk about it. This is part one of the podcast I wanted to bring you and talk about the virus, specifically talk about China and how they was persecuting the Muslim community there in China for quite some time. It never made the national headline, but we know for a fact that it was going on. Inshallah, we'll be bringing you a part two of this podcast, and we simply want to name this podcast. It would be The Time. I know we did some other series on the time, but this is specifically, we'll do this on the time. This is part one called The Time. This podcast will be, inshallah, bring you some more.